Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Welcome to our 8 nights of street fights. Each day leading to Christmas, Brad and I will revisit every WWE Miracle on 34th Street fight. Brad, we've revisited 7 of them. We are now on our 8th and final installment. We are going to turn back the clock to December 2020 to the Thunderdome. We saw a 6-man tag. Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Keith Lee teamed up to face AJ Styles, The Miz, and John Morrison. I mean, where do we even begin with this one, Brad? So many talented dudes in this match who we love. Yes. I believe about, correct me if I'm wrong, 20% of the talent are not in the WWE anymore, which is, it's always interesting to look back at these.
33%.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. The roster shifts are always fascinating to discuss, but I want to turn it over to you. You actually have a pretty strong memory of this match as it occurred in real time back in the Thunderdome, right?
Yeah, when we were looking at the list of these matches, and you know, we may have missed one, I don't know. But when we were looking at the list of matches, I was like, I know I saw one with Drew. I remember stuff happening with Christmas trees and that kind of stuff. So I knew it. Also, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for joining us and listening to us. We appreciate it. We were leading up to Christmas. Now it is Christmas.
It's the big day.
This is the big day.
And you're spending part of your day with us. Possibly. Thank you. Whenever you're spending time with us. Maybe it's Christmas Day. Maybe it's after. We appreciate you being here.
You got me with that. Possibly.
Possibly. Maybe you're listening to this in 2024. I don't know.
I'll say this. Thunderdome era is weird. I'm going to ask you a question after I say this, because my first note was, I believe right now, current day, the entrances are still happening. Good God, they took forever. Tyler, what was the point of entrances during the Thunderdome era? Why did they do them the same way? I guess is my point. Is it because it was supposed to make us feel like, oh, there's not a raging pandemic, things are normal, even though there's TV screens with people's faces on them right next to it. Mm-hmm. I also forgot how many lasers were involved in the entrance. Absolute stunning how many lasers were there to give like a more light effects to sort of fill that space, which I thought was really cool. But my God, there were a lot of lasers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you nailed it. I think it's definitely the reason being more of a distraction away from the very scary and uncertain time we were all living in and are still living in. Looking back at the Thunderdome, and I'll even choose it as an option sometimes when I'm playing WWE 2K. It's just, I can't believe it. On one hand, I can't believe it happened, but also it feels like looking back, it was so long ago, even though it was only now 3 years ago. It's just very surreal. Like you said, until you just mentioned this. 2, right? Until 2. Oh my God, 2. Yeah. Until you mentioned this, I didn't even consider. Oh yeah, them meaning superstars, pronouns, pal. Superstars, wrestlers having entrances is kind of like, why are we doing this when there are just screens in the Thunderdome? I think, like you said, not only was it a distraction, but just sort of WWE creating a product. When we go back on Peacock in 2023. In 2040 and look back at this era, I think they're probably cautious of, we want to present a professional looking product. We want it to be consistent, whether times are good or whether we have a raging pandemic happening. So, man, it just, like you said, we could go on and on about what the Thunderdome era meant and our memories of it. But this was the main event, and the baby faces ended up winning. And not only the baby faces, but Keith Lee, Limitless Keith Lee, picked up the victory. Of course, he was then bro kicked by Sheamus, as Sheamus was properly turning heel. But I'm so happy Keith Lee's team got the victory. I'm so happy he got the spot. It made me a little bit sad, Brad, because do you remember when Keith Lee ascended to the main roster ascended to Monday nights, and it looked so promising.
Yeah.
I believe he beat Randy Orton in his first pay-per-view match. I want to say that was Backlash. You and I were discussing. Oh wow, I guess Keith Lee is just pole vaulting to the main event, and he did, but it was pretty short-lived. And in our previous episode, we were discussing Tucker of Heavy Machinery and how he had a bit of a, I don't know if we would call it a precipitous downfall, but he ended up being released. Obviously, this was a very unfortunate time for Keith Lee. He had a health scare. He ended up being released from the company. I was just grateful that I could look back and remember a time when I was so hopeful for what him on the main roster could look like. Of course, Drew McIntyre rules. Of course, now Sheamus arguably had the best year of his career in 2022. And I thought the heels, these were the proper heels to be in this match. AJ Styles is a living legend. John Morrison and The Miz are perfect for this role. There was some comedy with Omos. Do you remember the spot when, of course you remember, I don't know why I'm asking you this. There was a spot when John Morrison fell into Omos's arms and then Omos just dropped him through the, caught him and then just dropped him through the table. And there were a lot of funny moments in this match. It was enjoyable. And like I said, I think the ending really puts it in the upper echelon of these street fights for me. But that's enough out of me, man. What are your notes on this? What did you think overall about this final installment?
I'm with you. This is one of the best ones of the bunch. For me, that Cena the Cena Del Rio match was the funniest one by far because it was so preposterous. Bray and Ambrose, if it were shorter, would probably be the best match. But man, that 205 crew was so good. I think this is probably the best match overall because it had the best storytelling. It furthered stories. It wasn't just a Wade Barrett run-in. It was Drew and Keith and Sheamus. Drew and Sheamus being longstanding friends. Keith being the new guy, accidentally bumping into Sheamus. Sheamus being pissed about it, and then going, "Hey, that was pretty good." In the middle of the match. That was pretty good. The slap on the side, and then Keith slapping him back harder, and then Sheamus doing it, and then Keith just full on giving him a Grizzly Magnum to the chest. I thought that was great. And then it cut to commercial break, and we all know that it ended with them going, "Oh, we got the win," and then Sheamus giving Keith a brogue kick. This was maybe the worst of the Keith Lee shirts that he was forced to wear. This was like the super down to the belly button V-neck thing that I don't even know how to describe that thing. It was like they gave him a unitard for dance. I have nothing else.
We didn't like it back then. We don't like it looking back on it now. Even the music, going back to entrances, Keith Lee, man. Although the music wasn't the worst I've ever heard, it was not. Yeah, why are we ruining? I know there's the CFO stuff and maybe there's legality to it, but his theme in NXT was so perfect in my opinion. Why would you fix it if it ain't broke?
Yeah, absolutely strange there. It was I forgot about all the Miz and Morrison stuff. At that point in time, I thought it was pretty good. The Miz and Morrison stuff was pretty good. It wasn't until they started bringing out drip sticks that everything fell apart there. And now there's way too much conversation about the Miz's balls for me. That Sheamus table bump. Boy, oh boy, that was...
I noted it.
Woo, boy.
I put Sheamus... What did I put here? Morrison throws Sheamus onto a table inside the ring to outside. Sheamus breaks it with his forearm. Absolutely missed the table with his body.
Yes.
That did not look like it was executed how it was playing.
No, it did not. They're like, "Oh, man, through the table." He was like, "That was nasty." And it was like, yeah. You can't have an arm hit the table and call it a table bump. Wasn't that what happened to, was it Bunny or Penelope Ford? I don't remember, where they overshot the table and it was like just their legs hit the table and the rest of them hit the barricade in AEW recently. It reminded me of that, where it was just probably too much adrenaline going at that time and Whiff City. But it was gnarly, and I'm glad he got back up. And then that was a great spirit bomb at the end to finish out.
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
On the Miz, but right?
It was. That's right. Yeah, and we saw a candy cane kendo stick as well in this match. Not so much the the fire extinguishers or chairs or any of that. So it's a little bit lighter.
Ms. Morrisson were tossed into the big pile of gifts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but it seemed like overall to me lighter than some of what we've seen before. I also noted that Drew powerbombed AJ through a table, and then I put Eggnog City. Yes. So we did get some eggnog. Yeah. It really, I think this match checked a lot of boxes for us. Yep. And when you just have 6 wrestlers of that caliber, right? All former current champions in their own right, you're gonna come out with a pretty entertaining product, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was great, man. Like this is the most recent one, and we know at the time that we're recording this and this comes out, there will have been another one, which we will talk about in the following week when we break down almost 2 weeks of professional wrestling on our after Christmas show. Tyler, you and I have earned a year's worth of let's take 1 week off, but we're certainly going to be catching that show to see how the Miracle on 34th Street fight holds up this year. I'm excited for it because your boy is in it. How excited are you?
I'm so excited. He's with us always. We're just getting him prominently featured seemingly every Friday now. This is Ricochet, of course, that we're speaking of, especially for our listeners if you're not seeing my Ricochet figure in the background here. Yeah, man, it makes me so happy. Do I understand why he and Braun Strowman are now friends on TV? No, it makes no sense because of reasons that we've spoken about on air before and Braun's tweets. So that's a little disturbing, but as we're recording this, I believe Ricochet and Braun Strowman are being positioned to win that match. So I will not complain any further.
Yeah, it gives him a chance to control his narrative.
It does.
So I will take every opportunity to say that. I will do it every time, especially if it... Well, in the spirit of Christmas, I won't finish that sentence. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a blast, Tyler. I had so much fun doing these 8 nights. This, of course, is the 8th night. It is Christmas Day. And hopefully you and your family are having a great time, or you are celebrating whatever you celebrate this time, and you're just hanging out, having some fun with us, talking about pro wrestling, ridiculous things, including the Thunderdome era. Tyler, this was a blast.
Yeah, I had a blast with you, Brad. This was so fun. I always go into these projects with some pretty solid expectations for us, but I'm always amazed at how much fun I have with you when thinking about our listeners and viewers that might be tuning in. So grateful for you this Christmas. So grateful for everyone that's listening or watching this. And I think we have a really exciting year of wrestling ahead.
Yeah, I can't wait. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This was our 8 nights of street fights, Miracle on 34th Street fight breakdown. Man, that's a mouthful. I'm glad I got through it. I'm not going to tell you to donate this time. It is Christmas Day. I'm going to tell you to enjoy time with family. Call that loved one. Thank that person you're grateful for. Tell them that you care about them. And then please recycle as much of that stuff that you have lying around your living room floor as you possibly can. Hopefully you were inundated with gifts. Hopefully you can figure out what to do with those leftovers. And hopefully you had a very Merry Christmas. We know that we did. We're glad that we got to spend time with you in your homes, in your cars, on your phones, wherever we may be finding you today. Have a very Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.